to our homeland. FBI field offices around the country and our headquarters in Washington, D.C. were not sufficiently connected to instantaneously know what intelligence each had regarding a case at any given time. We had problems sharing intelligence information amongst ourselves within the FBI, let alone trying to share it with our law enforcement and intelligence agency partners. Fortunately, these problems are being addressed as a result of the great leadership that we have currently in place in Washington, D.C. at our FBI headquarters. In addition, since 9/11, we have been receiving significant congressional support and budget enhancements to fix these problems. Since 9/11, our overall budget went from $3.1 billion in 2001 to $4.6 billion in 2004. It is expected to reach $5.1 billion in 2005 and possibly and hopefully $6 billion in 2006. We've gone from an agency of about 25,000 employees in 2001, which includes agents and professional support staff, to an expected increase to approximately 30,000 employees in 2005. This year, we expect to hire 1,176 agents before the year is out, and an additional 930 agents in 2005. We're moving from an agency of about 11,000 agents in 2001 to an expected increase to approximately 13,000 agents in 2005. Since 9/11, FBI Director Mueller established 10 new priorities for the FBI. Obviously, preventing another terrorist attack in this country is our #1 priority. There's nothing more important. Our #2 priority is to protect the U.S. from foreign intelligence operations, and our #3 priority is to protect the U.S. from cyber-based attacks and high technology crimes. I think most of you know that immediately after 9/11, we shifted significant manpower resources away from our traditional criminal investigations like bank robberies, gangs, white-collar crime, organized crime, drugs, to address these top 3 priorities. But with our major budget increases over the past few years, we have been able to begin to backfill some of those positions and gradually get back into our traditional criminal investigations again. With the Madrid bombings, we learned just how important it is for the FBI to get back into criminal investigations, particularly now that we are better able to connect those dots. It was determined that the Madrid bombing terrorists engaged in criminal activities by selling drugs to purchase their explosives. Continuing to work criminal investigations will leave open opportunities for us to detect terrorists while they're engaging in various criminal activities to support their plans, therefore giving us an opportunity to prevent an attack. The other priorities Director Mueller established were combat public corruption at all levels, protect civil rights, combat international and organized crime, combat major white-collar crime, combat significant violent crime, support our local law enforcement and intelligence partners, and upgrade FBI technology and do it very quickly. We also changed our organizational structure. In order to prevent another 9/11, we have to have continually good intelligence. As a result, we're continually improving our intelligence collection and analysis capabilities. We're connecting more with the CIA, NSA, and other U.S. intelligence services. We created the Office of Intelligence headed by a former NSA executive, Mo Baginski, who established our intelligence analytical squads known as Field Intelligence Groups, or FIGs. You may have been hearing about FIGs lately, throughout the FBI. We're in the process of combining our counterterrorism division with the CIA's Counterterrorism Center to consolidate and better coordinate our intelligence and focus. We have become a critical part of the President's Terrorism Threat Integration Center, which merges and analyzes terrorist-related intelligence collected domestically and abroad. We've established a 24/7 counterterrorism watch center at FBI headquarters, which receives threat intelligence from agents all over the world. This center assesses the information for credibility and urgency and directs follow-up action. This intelligence is passed to the President. We also have a terrorist screening center which receives calls from police officers, customs officials, or consular officials who encounter individuals listed in the Terrorist Screening Center database. The Terrorist Screening Center helps confirm the subject's identity and connects the officer or consular to our counterterrorism watch and the appropriate Joint Terrorism Task Force for further action. We established the Office of Law Enforcement Coordination, which is headed by a former Chief of Police, Louis Kias, to connect better with our law enforcement partners around the country. To protect U.S. citizens abroad, we have expanded our legal attaché and liaison presence in U.S. embassies around the world to 54 offices. They will allow us to connect with more international law enforcement agencies. We expect to increase the number of legal attachés around the world to over 70 in the near future. We have created counterterrorism flying squads to deploy to field offices at a moment's notice to assist in the event they are faced with a major terrorism investigation. They bring language, analytical, and surveillance skills and support to that office, along with terrorist group expertise. Since 9/11, we have installed new leadership in the FBI to ensure that we have the best chance of accomplishing our number one priority. We have brought in fresh blood with fresh ideas by hiring on the outside. We've hired from CIA, NSA, the military, and the private sector. We had to change our culture of being a reactive agency to one of preventive. And certainly that was a major sea change for the FBI. In response to criticism, we are working very hard to strengthen our relations and information sharing capabilities with our federal, state, and local law enforcement and intelligence partners. We're also working with them as a part of joint terrorism task forces. At the time of 9/11, there were 35 joint terrorism task forces around the country. Now, each of our 56 FBI field offices have a joint terrorism task force. Some of them, like my division here in Denver, Colorado, we have 2. There are now 86 joint terrorism task forces across the country. We've created a national joint terrorism task force at FBI headquarters, staffed by representatives from 38 different federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies, and they help coordinate the efforts of the 86 JTTFs. Over the past few years, we provided basic counterterrorism training to an estimated 28,000 federal, state, and local law enforcement officers around the country. I'm currently working with the Colorado Post Board to incorporate basic minimum standards counterterrorism officer safety training for all new police recruits in Colorado. We're currently making great strides to improve our technological infrastructure and capabilities, which is improving our ability to connect those dots. As I mentioned earlier, our technological capabilities were really not at the level and speed commensurate with the threat that we were faced with at the time of 9/11. We're turning that around, and we're turning it around very quickly. We brought in some of the best and brightest computer minds from private industry who are bringing the FBI into the digital age. Over the past few years, we've hired a significant number of highly educated, trained, and experienced intelligence analysts, and we expect to continue to hire more in the years to come. As I mentioned earlier, the prevention of terrorist attacks is the FBI's overriding priority. We're taking a new approach to prevention by taking full advantage of our enhanced counterterrorism and intelligence capabilities. We believe that the terrorist intent is to attack us in the United States. However, as I mentioned earlier, there is no intelligence to suggest the specific target or the timing of such an attack. But this is why it is crucial for us to analyze all of the intelligence that we and other agencies are receiving. And what we have done is we've centralized the management of our counterterrorism and intelligence gathering responsibilities, which has substantially improved our information sharing capabilities throughout the FBI and with our outside partners. It has also helped us to implement a nationwide counterterrorism strategy that fully integrates both intelligence and law enforcement tools to prevent terrorist attacks. Our intelligence program is leveraging the collection power of 12,000 agents to identify and resolve gaps in our intelligence and to analyze and share that intelligence inside the FBI and with our outside partners. We are coordinating our efforts with our partners in the intelligence community, the Department of Homeland Security, state and local law enforcement, as well as with private sector owners and operators of critical infrastructures. In order to find out what we know and what we don't know, analysts at FBI headquarters and in every field office around the country are currently pulling together intelligence from domestic and international sources and giving a fresh look to older intelligence to see what light it may shed on the current threat that we're faced with. At the Terrorist Threat Integration Center in Washington, D.C., we're pooling FBI intelligence with intelligence from other members of the intelligence community and foreign sources. Field intelligence groups, or FIGs, FIG squads, intelligence analyst squads, which we have assigned to each of our 56 field offices around the country, are pulling together intelligence generated from joint terrorism task forces and other FBI investigations and from state and local sources. The Office of Intelligence at FBI headquarters is bringing together all this intelligence to produce briefing materials for the President, the FBI Director, and other senior managers such as myself, as well as for law enforcement and intelligence agency partners. This is done on a daily basis. As I mentioned earlier, we currently have 86 joint terrorism task forces around the country. They're staffed with local, state, and other federal agencies who respond to terrorism leads around the clock, 7 days a week, 24/7. They ensure that every terrorism lead is quickly followed to its resolution. Help from citizens like yourselves is vital. We need for you to continue to be vigilant, observant, and reporting what you see. We need for you to continue to be aware of your surroundings and not become complacent. You are the force multiplier for law enforcement in this country. Public assistance and support is very important. If people suspect that an individual is one of those we have released in an FBI bulletin because of a resemblance or suspicious activity, report it to law enforcement. But keep in mind, pay attention to detail. The smallest detail could be the piece of information we need to complete the investigation. No detail is too small. The primary purpose of issuing bulletins is to alert citizens and other law enforcement entities about the possible threat posed by individuals. Information concerning these bulletins can be found on the FBI.gov website under Most Wanted Terrorists. We are working very closely with our law enforcement and intelligence agency partners. We are sharing both raw intelligence and finished analytical products with them. We are accomplishing this through our joint terrorism task forces and secure networks that notifies chiefs of police and local command centers of critical threat information. We're also receiving unprecedented cooperation from our counterparts overseas. When a lead takes us overseas, we relay requests for information and assistance through our 54 legal attachés. When we have intelligence information related to a threat, we currently use prevention strategies such as going public with the threat information. Public awareness may cause terrorists to change their plans or targets and give us an additional opportunity to identify and disrupt their activities. As a part of our efforts to resolve outstanding intelligence questions related to a threat, we may interview some individuals as a way to gain additional intelligence or to disrupt possible plans to carry out an attack. The FBI is working closely with the owners and operators of critical infrastructure such as commercial transportation systems and seaports through our Joint Terrorism Task Forces and the National Joint Terrorism Task Force. We're also exchanging information with more than 10,000 owners and operators of critical infrastructure. As concerned citizens